The diner was nearly empty when Alina's hands finally began to shake. She had carried trays for 10 hours straight, smiling at strangers who never noticed her tired eyes. Tonight felt heavier than usual. Every step toward another table felt like she was walking across cracked ice that could break any time. The owner stood behind the counter, checking his watch again. Rent was overdue. Electricity was overdue. Her landlord had already warned her. Tomorrow morning she would be locked out. The final notice sat folded inside her apron pocket like a stone pressing against her ribs constantly tonight everywhere. A couple at the window asked about dessert, but Alina barely heard them. Her thoughts kept repeating one sentence her aunt had told her earlier. There is only one way you can stay in the apartment. The condition was absurd, humiliating, and desperate beyond reason for survival tonight. Her aunt's landlord cousin wanted security. A married tenant looked stable on paper. A single woman, he claimed, was a risk. Without a husband's name on the contract, she would be thrown out. Tomorrow morning, no extensions, no sympathy, just eviction papers waiting like a judge's final verdict. Near closing time, exhaustion broke her composure. She whispered while wiping a table, but the words escaped louder than she intended. "I need a husband by tomorrow." Her voice cracked. She laughed weakly afterward, but tears slid down anyway, betraying the truth beneath her hopeless situation tonight. Silence spread across the diner. Only one occupied table remained. A young man in a simple jacket sat with 3 little girls, all identical, all watching her carefully. They were sharing one slice of pie with absolute seriousness, dividing each bite equally with tiny plastic forks. The girls looked at each other, then at their father. One leaned closer and whispered, "Daddy, she sounds like you did at the hospital." The man froze slightly. He understood desperation. His eyes carried memories heavier than any words could easily explain ever again tonight. He stood slowly and approached the counter, careful not to frighten her. "Excuse me," he said gently. "I'm sorry for overhearing." Alina wiped her eyes quickly, embarrassed. Customers weren't supposed to see waitresses cry. Pride struggled against reality, but reality was winning painfully tonight inside her heart. "I didn't mean to disturb you," she said. "Just ignore me." He hesitated, then spoke carefully. "You said you need a husband by tomorrow. Do you mean a real one, or just a name?" The question stunned her. She stared at him, unsure whether to laugh, cry, or run. "My landlord needs proof I'm married," she admitted quietly. "Otherwise, I'm homeless in the morning." Her cheeks burned with shame. She had never imagined explaining her life to a stranger in a diner near midnight while holding a coffee pot like a lifeline tonight. The man glanced back at his daughters. The triplets watched with serious curiosity. "Girls," he called softly. "Come here." They hurried over, their small shoes tapping in rhythm. "This is Miss Alina." One girl immediately hugged her waist without hesitation, surprising them both completely tonight. "I'm Daniel," he said. "Their mom passed away 2 years ago. Since then, everything has been paperwork. Schools question single fathers. Apartments reject families without mothers. Systems prefer normal stories." His voice carried quiet exhaustion, the kind that comes from fighting life alone for too long. Alina understood instantly. Society trusted couples, not individuals struggling honestly. "You're saying," she whispered. "I'm saying," Daniel replied, steady but kind. "Maybe we can help each other. A legal marriage, no expectations, just stability. You get a home. My daughters get security on applications and schools for paperwork purposes." She stared at the girls. One held her hand already. Another leaned against her arm comfortably. The third smiled gently and asked, "Will you come to breakfast with us tomorrow?" The innocence hurt her more than pity ever could. They weren't offering charity. They were offering belonging. "I don't even know you," she said softly. Daniel nodded. "Fair. But I know desperation. I recognize it because I lived it. He placed documents on the counter. School rejection letters, housing refusals, bureaucratic notes stamped everywhere in red ink, each page another closed door for his family tonight again. The owner watched quietly, pretending to clean glasses. Something sincere filled the air. No romance, no fairy tale music, just two people cornered by reality, considering an unusual solution neither had imagined when the day started hours earlier under ordinary expectations of life and routine survival tonight. Alina knelt beside the girls. If I say yes, nothing changes immediately. I'm still me. You're still you. The eldest nodded. Families don't start perfect, she said solemnly. They start together. Daniel looked surprised. Clearly, he hadn't taught them that sentence recently. Sometimes children understand life better than adults burdened by fear. Morning arrived quickly at City Hall. Papers were signed. Witnesses were random employees who barely looked up. No wedding dress, no flowers, no music, just signatures, tired smiles, and uncertain hope. Yet strangely, Alina felt calmer leaving the building than she had in months. That evening, she unlocked the apartment door, not alone. 3 backpacks dropped immediately onto the couch. One girl explored the kitchen cabinets. Another inspected the balcony. The third handed Alina a drawing. 4 stick figures holding hands under a bright, uneven sun together happily. Daniel watched quietly from the doorway. We can take this slowly, he said. Alina shook her head gently, tears warm but different now. Maybe slowly isn't necessary. Maybe sometimes life pushes strangers together because they were never supposed to stay strangers in the first place. Dinner burned slightly because everyone talked too much. Laughter echoed through rooms empty for years. The apartment felt warmer than its small walls should allow. No one mentioned contracts, landlords, or paperwork anymore. Those reasons had brought them together, but they weren't why they stayed. Late that night, one triplet knocked softly on her door. Mom, can I call you that someday? Alina's heart stuttered. She pulled the child into a hug. Someday, she whispered. We won't even remember the day we met. We'll only remember we became a family. Outside, the city lights glowed quietly. Tomorrow would still bring problems, bills, and uncertainty, but inside the apartment lived something stronger than stability. A choice. 2 wounded lives had made a practical decision. Love, however, had made its own decision afterward without asking permission first.